The tallest are dead at the end of the movie, and so is Zim.
Podemos
In the movie? Or ever?
Someone else has a microphone on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. If we killed him, there'd be no show, and there never would have been a movie. But, I mean, he's just really bad at it. Zim sucks.
Okay, turn off the microphone and next question.
Here.
Where is the microphone? I don't know, there's another one that's on. Surely.
On the front. Come on.
My question is
No, it's not
about
the microphone. They're trying to go.
Oh, it's just the speakers? Okay.
the Florpus entering sequence. How was the experience of sharing Invader Sim with all that artists like Screen Novelties? Sharing Invader Sim for you, how was the experience?
Working with all the different artists was amazing. That was one of the best parts. Like getting to work with people that you respect. I mean, that's why we brought them in.
Yeah.
There's an improvement. Getting to work with all these people that you respect and admire, getting to bring them in was. Oh, I have to project? I'm not Jake.
Yo, we're in the theater.
I'm not Jake!
You just whisper it to me.
And then Jake will yell it.
I loved working with everybody!
Okay.
It was the best time of my life!
Thanks.
And the kids become Erkin and Zim becomes human. So that was one of mine that I did. So what happened was there was a storyboard, which is just a rough layout of where the characters needed to be in the spot. And we got that, and that was basically it. We were told that like Gur runs from side one to the left and to right, and just do whatever you want. And we cleared the design beforehand just to make sure two people did the same thing. And I had Jhonen touch on the design so that it looked like what Erkin Dib would really look like and all that kind of stuff. And that was it. We did our shots, we handed them back, and then at Nickelodeon they stitched them all together and added the screen shake and the backgrounds in because one person did the background so that just the characters changed, so that it looked like when it was switching, it wasn't too confusing.
And if I remember that correctly, we shipped all that to Korea so we could cut back to their stuff too. Like
Yes.
we had, so the whole scene was animated multiple times, like the whole, like completely.
Yeah,
Because Jhonen doesn't care.
That entire Florpus sequence exists in the house style, in case this stuff didn't work. We would always be able to cut back, but it helped because we could keep. It gave us even more footage to cut back and forth from. The more options we had, the better.
Okay, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
question? Okay, right there.
My favorite part to work on the movie. Oh well, it's not a particular scene, but my favorite thing that happened of the entire movie was there was one day when they were doing the voice record in a room in Nickelodeon, and I got to go down and watch Richard Horvitz do his routine, and both he and a couple other actors were in there, and getting to see Richard Horvitz do that laugh, there was a couple times where he just laughed and laughed and laughed, and he was instructed to just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and just when you think he can't get any louder, he just goes and you hear his throat just starting to tear and blood come out, and it was a highlight for me because I grew up, I loved Invader Zim, when I was in high school, and you hear that voice, it's one of the most iconic laughs in all of cartoons. So getting to see him in person and just hear him make up jokes in the moment and in the room, it was a really big highlight for me of the entire thing. Yeah, it was really great.
Jake?
So my favorite part of the movie, and it's dumb, is when the cat gets arrested. I boarded that in like a huge all-nighter, and we talked about like how to resolve the cat and how to resolve the sharks. And it was he's like, just have him get arrested. And I was like, okay. And I like stayed up all night and boarded that, and I was like, they're gonna throw it out. I'm gonna have to do this over. But then we played it. It was funny as shit. And then my favorite part of working on the movie was so So my job was to understand what Jhonen wanted and make sure other people did it, right? I'm like this horrible interface, like this membrane between Jhonen and another team. And that was hard. It was hard to get the movie to internalize everything and understand it. So my favorite part of working on it was when we went to Korea and it was time to hand off.
Do we have a mic?
I think so.
Where is the microphone?
Where is that man?
Somewhere out there is a
Mañanitas.
microphone.
It's God.
Why are you hiding it? Why are you hiding us the microphone?
God has finally come for you, Jhonen.
Point.
We get a microphone. So, testing. So we'd gone to Korea, and we were supposed to hand off the movie to them, and Jhonen was like, Jake, you do it, because he was tired, because we just flown to Korea, and I pitched all 3 acts of the movie. I took him through the whole thing. Jhonen only had to like step in and correct me a couple times, and after we're done, he looks at me, he's like, I did it. I put the whole movie inside you. It's in you now, and you'll never get it out. And I was like, oh my God. And that to me, it was the end of the whole process, and I was like, oh yeah, like I finally did my job. Good job, me. Excellent work, me.
No, Jake.
What was my favorite part? I mean, I enjoyed just having a team of incredible people to work with on like a very base level, but then I also got to do like a bunch of voices in the movie.
Yeah.
So like Martha slapping herself against the window and like, is me. Like, all the little like aliens that get sucked off that planet at Blanky's birthday are all me. So like getting to do a bunch of voices, I'm like half the voices in the movie. Like we couldn't credit me for all of them because of like SAG reasons. But getting to do all the voices was really fun. Just hanging out with Jhonen. Jhonen did a ton of voices too, so we'd just be in the booth like being idiots, and that was like a blast. I loved that. I want to do that forever.
Can you do okay?
Doing the voices was really good. My favorite Jenny voice is when Zim whips his finger at the lady and says, you know, bag of meat and juice, you know, how do you like my new bracelet? I like the, I love it! It's more alive than I expected though. That's my favorite thing.
That was really good.
My favorite thing, I was kind of present on a bunch of different levels. So working with Brian early on, working on the script, seeing it come together was really fun. And then settling on something that we thought was good. And then having voice actors come in, and that's fun again. And having Richard and Ricky and Andy and Melissa, having everyone in the booth and just having fun and reminding you why what you wrote was maybe funny. Because then you hear someone else's take on it, and it's not just you anymore. Now you see what other people are doing with it. And every step of the way, when you start getting tired of the shit that you've made, bringing someone else in and seeing it come to life a little bit more. Seeing the board artists come in and suddenly puppeteer those characters, make them get from here to there. Whereas in your head, it's just kind of in there. Suddenly you're seeing it externalized, and it's really fun every step of the way. I mean, it gets miserable at times, but there's always those great moments where you see that someone has come in, and they're not as tired as you are. So they still have life force in them. And then you get to slowly watch their life force drain, and that makes me feel good. Watching as their power is just no more. And but there's always those little things that come in and make you go, oh yeah, this is funny, and this is good, or this is bad, and we can change it. But for me, it's not just one particular thing. Like, I have my favorite things in the movie, I love when Zim says excellent work, me, because that just makes me laugh, and it's the one thing from the movie that I say over and over again. It's the one thing that I say from the movie. I don't tend to quote my stuff a whole lot, so when people quote my stuff at me, I'm just like, what? I guess that's funny. But excellent work, me, is my favorite thing in the movie. Everything else is just working with everybody and being, whoa, that is some sense. Working with everyone is my favorite part of the movie.
Yay!
Clever. Because it's not a reference to Membrane making friends with sharks.
It's not.
It's just, we thought it was really funny that the sharks were suddenly friendly. And that the little girl is driving by, Smolga? Is it
Smolga. That was Smolga.
No, that's not Smolga.
Isn't it Smolga?
No, Smolga's got the thing on her head.
I think that's Smolga.
No, that's Smolga.
Okay, well, I just think it's funny that sharks are holding hands. As for why Minnie Moose was a puzzle, I just think it's funny that Minnie Moose is just this mysterious Hellraiser puzzle box kind of thing. Like, Minnie Moose is the most dangerous, horrible thing in all the universe, but no one knows how to use him. It's kind of a cheat that Zim actually effectively uses him in this, but as for why he's a puzzle, because it's cool. Who else has got a question? Oh, over there. Oh, wait, no, we're not doing a signing right now. No, let's not start doing a signing.
Okay.
Dangerous.
Please
understand.
Thank
Please
you.
attach to one question, please. Just one question.
Okay.
Just one question.
About the movie.
And don't say you like Jhonen. It makes us all feel bad.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't get it twisted. I love the
It makes
movie.
them sad.
I love the movie, but if I had to do a question about it, it would be, how did you come up with the idea of the movie? How did you solidify the deal with Nickelodeon after like more than 10 years without any Invader Zim TV stuff?
They sent me some forms. I signed the forms and then hired everybody. In terms of how the movie came to be, it's not really that interesting a story. I had time, and they had been wanting to make Zim stuff for a while. When Jenny and I were working on Very Important House, pitching it around, all they wanted to talk about was Zim. When we were talking to various people, and when our project didn't take off, after that, I was just very frustrated at working on something for years and not having anyone see any proof of it. And it seemed like there would have been a pretty good chance of the Zim movie happening. And that was really one of the big motivating forces, was just working on something and having people get to see it, because it kind of sucks to spend years and years and years in development and then no one, there's no proof of your existence. And then you see people going, dude, why are you so fucking lazy? Because they don't know what you're doing, and people are incredibly presumptuous. And I'm going to start complaining about people now if I don't ask for the next question. Be nice, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I just make it, Jhonen isn't allowed to be a part of it. I'll make it though.
Tyson's in control.
There's no plans. Zim isn't a thing that I'm ever pushing to make more of. It's fun, but it's also agonizing. The conditions have to be right, and the right team has to be available. Like, I would work with every one of these people, but they all have their own lives, and there's stuff that I want to do that isn't Zim. Zim doesn't really let me be as expressive. It's just, and that's it, and that's the whole point. You can't make it really be anything other than Zim. But if I want to tell other kinds of stories with maybe a wider range of emotions and content, Zim's not the thing for me, and it would be, I just don't want to go crazy. I don't want to lose my mind just being limited to one world, So maybe, I don't know.
Would you like to adapt any other of your other comic books?
I would rather do like original stuff, but I'm sure I could have fun working on some of my older things. It's just that I have other worlds I love to build.
We're fine.
Yeah, I'm
if it's about us, we got nowhere to be. What else are we gonna do?
Yeah, the plane doesn't leave until tomorrow.
Right, we have until 12 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Whoa.